So Coutts, of course, is a very prestigious private bank, known, of course, for being the bank of many members of the royal family. And this row over Nigel Farage and his private bank account there began a few weeks ago. Nigel Farage said they'd contacted him to tell him that his private bank account was being closed. He said at the time it was because he was what's known as a politically exposed person, though it was reported elsewhere, including on the BBC, that it was because his level of wealth had fallen below the financial threshold needed to have an account there. He says that's not the case. Then he submitted a subject access request to the bank and obtained this dossier, which he's been quoting from, and it's been widely reported in the Telegraph today, which essentially, he says, shows that the bank decided to close his account because essentially they didn't like his views. They believe they don't align with the bank's own values, particularly his position on Brexit, of course, the European Convention on Human Rights, also his friendship with the ex-American President Donald Trump, and even the tennis player Novak Djokovic. Also in the dossier, it talks about him being xenophobic and holding racist views, something he also categorically denies. Now, this morning, it's rather broadened out into a broader conversation about banking regulation and indeed freedom of speech. We heard from Grant Shapps there, Cabinet Minister, of course, describing the situation as scandalous in the sense that politically exposed persons, this is a group of people in public life who, because of the greater likelihood of their exposure to bribery or corruption, can sometimes struggle to get bank accounts. There are different rules surrounding them. But Mr. Shapps said that the way that those rules are applied by banks is often done wrongly. He called for the Financial Conduct Authority to do more to regulate this. Now, they say they are monitoring the situation, but Mr. Shapps even suggested this morning that it was possible that additional legislation might be needed to ensure that the system is managed more fairly. We have now had a statement from Coutts, as you say. They say our ability to respond to all of this is restricted by our obligations of client confidentiality. Decisions to close accounts are not taken lightly and take into account a number of factors, including commercial viability, reputational considerations and legal and regulatory requirements. As a client, Mr. Farage has previously confirmed alternative banking arrangements have been offered within the wider group.